What is the greenhouse effect?
The greenhouse effect is the rising temperature that the Earth experiences because certain gases in the atmosphere, which are water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane,
trap heat in the atmosphere.
What is global warming?
Global warming is an increase of the Earth's temperature by a few degrees.
Global warming affects the environment by intensifying weather events. For example, flooding, hurricanes, cyclones, tornadoes, droughts, and fire all become more unpredictable and more intense. Global warming will affect humans' way of life. Small temperature fluctuations can lead to extreme weather events, causing destruction of lives, homes, neighborhoods, and food systems. This could result in massive crisis and homelessness and famine.
A wild weather system lashed Southern California on May 23rd, with fierce thunderstorms that unleashed mudslides and wildfires scarred canyons, spawned at least 2 tornadoes, and dusted mountains and even low-lying communities with snow and hail. Weeks after the cyclone in Myanmar, the roads of the ravaged Irrawaddy Delta are lined these days with people hoping to be fed. After the cyclone hit Myanmar, lands of the farmers were destroyed. They abandoned their ruined rice paddies and set up bamboo shelters, waiting for carloads of Burmese civilians who have taken it on themselves to feed those who lost everything to Cyclone Nargis.
Buildings waste a lot of energy. They are one of the major contributors of greenhouse gases. Buildings are responsible for 30 to 40% of CO2 emissions because of the way they are built. There are many things we can do to help the environment by using nature, such as using trees for shade instead of air conditioners.
Yeah!
And you too!
Yeah!
Around the world, people are starting to use solar panels to power their buildings to save energy. Most buildings could achieve a 20 to 50% reduction in energy use by investing in new windows, superannuation, heat recovery systems, and efficient appliance and boilers.
In San Francisco, they are making buildings with solar panels. The stainless steel panels retain accumulated solar heat as a thermal blanket over the building's facade. When that air warms, it floats upward, coaxing cooler air through the building via windows that open automatically when instructed by sensors. The result is carbon-free air conditioning.
We can help contribute to this cause by planting more trees around buildings to cool them off and use as shade instead of a cooling fan, or use energy-saving light bulbs. Also, putting super insulation on buildings at schools to use air conditioning less, or energy saving with thermal performance. Little things like that make a big difference in the long run.
Electricity is a commodity that is essential for our way of life to carry on, but what most don't know is where we get it from. Electricity is produced in power plants, be it coal, natural gas, or even nuclear power. Practically all power plants release CO2 into the atmosphere. The chart seen here shows how much a megaton of CO2 is put into the atmosphere by certain parts of society. Wasted, power plants have to produce more than they should, which means more CO2 is unnecessarily released into the atmosphere. People waste energy by leaving lights and appliances on. China is already taking the initiative by installing photovoltaic solar cells on the roofs of homes in rural areas. This means China will be reducing their output of CO2. Our city hall has a group of PV cells, but more could be done. PV cells could be put on homes, stop signs, basically anything that is stationary and exposed to the sun. We could increase the energy efficiency in our homes by installing fluorescent bulbs, super windows, and many other things.
Nuclear guarantees is one of the bad ideas for energy. Nuclear power is expensive, and using taxpayer money to subsidize it isn't economical. It is also a potential target for terrorism and a source of nuclear weapon material.
Using food-based biofuels that come from sugar, corn, and grains was once thought to be a good solution to replacing fossil fuels, but it's not. Food-based biofuels affect the economy because it is very costly and heavily subsidized by taxpayers. Biofuels also affect food prices because of the huge quantity of corn, sugar, and other crops required to make this fuel. Some studies report that biofuels cause more environmental disruption than caused by fossil fuels.
Ban the Bulb is an organization bringing people together to convince the public to ban the incandescent light bulbs because it takes up a lot of money and energy. Using the compact fluorescent light bulb saves a lot of energy, helping the environment and your wallet at the same time.
We should grow trees in Southgate because trees reduce tons of pounds of CO2 out of the atmosphere. Trees are also good for the environment because they reduce heat in populated areas such as Southgate.
Localizing economies would dramatically help the environment. Buying local products would reduce the amount of trains, planes, trucks, and ships needed to ship foreign products. Buying produce that are in season from local farmers reduces the amount of fossil fuels needed to ship food and would cause less CO2 emissions.
Plugging in cars, scooters, bikes, trains, and other vehicles help to lower the world pollution. Hybrid cars are better for the economy in a way that they give more miles per hour. Other cars consume fossil fuels which release CO2 and methane. Hybrid cars not only help the climate but also help you save more money for the gas.
Today's modern transportation system is over-relying on our fossil fuels. According to the Yes magazine, the U.S. emits the equivalent of 7.26 gigatons of CO2 annually. Our transportation alone in the U.S. contributes 2.01 gigatons of that. This comes from using too much of our fossil fuels. For example, the trucks, SUVs, and buses on the streets. Instead, we should be using our alternatives, which is biking, walking, hybrid cars, and carpooling.